Hey guys, how's it going? Brizarel here. First of all, apologies for not releasing a video last week, but the thing I was trying to showcase you guys this time just wasn't coming out right. I did it and redid it a bunch of times, and still didn't feel like it was worthy of the quality of a tutorial. So we ended up with no video last week. And then after that, I mentioned in the Discord channel that to sort of compensate you guys for that, I would be releasing a slightly different video by middle or end of last week, and then I got sick and couldn't get out of bed for a day and a half, so that kind of fell through as well. But here's that video now. Sorry for all the delays, I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to talk about the future of the channel, some plans that I have for it, or actually just some ideas that I have floating around. Nothing is really set in stone just yet. And at the same time, I will leave you guys with some Monster Hunter World gameplay in the background, because I've been enjoying the hell out of that game lately. It's really good. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. So now that the channel is getting, let's say, a significant amount of traction, 1000 subscribers is quite nice, although in the grand scheme of things, in the context of our big YouTube overlords with millions or hundreds of thousands of subscribers, 1000 is nothing, but, well, it's something. At least I'm pretty happy with it, because it's not just the 1000 subscribers in isolation, it's also everything around it. It's that it's growing, that I've been getting very good feedback from most of you guys, and I really appreciate that. Please keep the feedback coming. The community that has been forming around this, if you can even call it that, I hope we can, is also very nice. Everything has been super nice, no trolls, no haters, and I would like as much as possible to continue to uphold the level of friendliness that has been happening. So by this point, and having hit this mark, I think the channel requires some further consideration about its future, and the shortest term goal that I have would be to make enough income from the channel that I could invest a lot more of my time and energy on it. And although I know that it would never really be that short term, because these things take time, I would really like to eventually be able to do this full time, but in a more realistic time frame, probably just part-time. Because right now it's completely on my free time, and if possible I would really like to cut back on the hours that I spend at my day job and instead spend those on the YouTube channel. So let's talk first about the overarching idea that I have for the channel, and then I'll talk about some more specific ideas that I had to implement. So first of all, I really enjoy making games. That should probably be obvious, because that's the focus of the channel. But I also really enjoy playing them, probably even more. In fact, I was listening to a Ben Broad presentation or interview where he said that making games was more fun than playing them, and I will have to disagree with you there. Anyway, I would like to somehow integrate some gaming content into the channel, but this is more like a side note or some add-on idea that I had, because I really don't want to make this channel a random mix of gameplay and game dev, because like nobody wants to watch that. You come to the channel and you have no idea what you're up to watch. So I really want to keep the focus on the development side, because, well, that's where the channel started, that's why you guys are all here. So the best idea that I had for that up to this point was to just, let's say, I pick a game that I really enjoy, I choose a small feature of that game that I also really enjoy, and we play it for a few videos, analyzing the feature, trying to figure out how it works, and then we transition into actually implementing a copy or an adaptation of that feature. And I think it's a pretty interesting learning experience, actually. So if you guys have any interest in that, please do let me know. But anyway, that was not the point that I was trying to make first. this was about the overarching idea for the channel. So eventually I would really like to develop my own games, like full-on games. But obviously I can't do that all by myself. I wouldn't even dare to try, because I'm just a programming guy. I know nothing about art or animation, and honestly I really don't want to know. I would rather have other people that are much more versed and much more talented in that to do those things, right? Because that's how a game studio is supposed to work. You have people specialized on different things. So yeah, but that would require obviously hiring employees, paying their salaries. So yeah, that's really long term. In the meantime, I would very much enjoy being able to monetize this thing through YouTube's monetization, ads, right, views and subscribers and whatnot, selling assets on the Unity Asset Store. I think there's some really interesting potential for that. Right now, the first asset that I released, the character stats, is free. Probably the inventory asset is also going to be free. And yes, I am definitely planning to release an asset version of the inventory system. But them being free is certainly intended, because I really don't want to try to milk every single penny out of everything, like out of every single video view and out of every single asset that I release. It's like, even a friend of mine was talking to me the other day and he said, "Dude, you gotta monetize your channel, monetize it and I'll watch your videos without adblock on." And I'm like, yeah, thanks for the 0.2 cents that I'll get from your single view, I guess, but really, what's the point? Like, I know these things take a lot of time, and I know that in order for you to get any relevant amount of ad revenue from a video, it really has to have a lot of views. So yeah, one single person watching your video isn't really going to make that much of a difference. And at the same time it does, right? At the same time, I care about like every single person that watches a video of mine, but I'm not trying to milk every single penny that I can get from every single minute of video views. So anyway, yeah, I would much rather release some free content and have people judge it by what it is, if it's good or if it sucks. And later down the line, if I do decide to release some paid content, I really hope that people have already gained some confidence on my free content. There's a much higher chance, hopefully, that people will actually want to pay for it. You're not trying to squeeze the money out of them. And I do think this strategy in the long run is actually much more effective. And honestly, even if it isn't, I don't really care, because I feel much happier doing it this way. Because, yeah, that's what counts the most. As for some paid assets, I have had in the works a spells or ability system, whatever you want to call it, like way before I even started the channel. I have been teasing it out here and there whenever people mention that it would be nice to have an ability system, and I'm like, I got you covered, buddy. I have one planned on the way, and it's going to release eventually, just not yet. And the other monetization strategy that I thought of, which is probably going to be pretty obvious to everybody, is a Patreon. I really have to think very carefully and hard and detailed about how to structure the Patreon, all of the rewards and stuff, because if it's just a Patreon and the rewards are just, yeah, get your name in the credits and nothing else, I don't think that's very appealing to anybody. I think it really has to have some return on investment, let's say, for the people that actually decide to donate. One idea would be to have, starting from a certain reward tier, either discount codes for paid assets that I release eventually, or completely giving the assets out for free. I just have to figure out if there's any limitations on the actual store side of things, because not all stores allow you to just hand out promo codes for your apps, or in this case assets, like willy-nilly. So I'll have to check that out, if that's even possible. I hope it is. Yeah, other obvious rewards would be a Discord channel exclusive to patrons. Obviously, by supporting a creator on Patreon, you already get exclusive Patreon posts in the webpage itself, so there's that. Maybe release videos a few days earlier for patrons only also. Yeah, those are all, I think, the obvious ideas that pretty much everybody is doing, but I think there's some value to them. The people are doing them for a reason. But if you guys have any other ideas that you would find useful or interesting, please do let me know. Because ultimately, I have to make content that my viewers watch and want to watch. I can't just do content for myself, right? It has to be a bit of a mix of both. Oh, and obviously, I would also monetize the YouTube channel itself with ads. I just can't do that just yet, because as per YouTube's new rules from the start of this year, I believe, you need 1,000 subscribers, which, woohoo, we already got. But you also need 4,000 watch hours in the previous 12 months, and I still haven't reached that point. We're at 3,700 something, so yeah, if you guys want to watch a bit more of my videos, please go ahead, because that would be helpful. Nah, just kidding, you guys just keep doing what you're doing. So in short, if you want a too long didn't watch, I would like to make this YouTube thing my full-time job. In order to do that, I would need to monetize it, of course, because, well, everybody needs money to pay the bills, right? And there's a few monetization strategies that I'm considering. First of all, releasing paid assets on the asset store, alongside some free ones, of course. Monetizing the YouTube channel itself. Creating a Patreon. And I'm actually debating if it's worth it to have both a Patreon and Unity assets on the store, because I've always heard people support the idea that the best way to monetize your YouTube channel is by selling products, assuming people actually want to buy those products, right? You're not just going to shove random products down people's throats. But on the other hand, I think there's some value to people that might want to support the channel just for the tutorials, and that's more in line with what Patreon is supposed to be. Maybe they don't feel like buying the assets because they're not useful for them, but they like the tutorials. So yeah. And the last thing is by selling actually full-on games. Eventually I would even like to create my own development studio, or partner up with someone to create it. So if you guys have any ideas on any of these topics, I would be really happy to hear them. And for you guys that are interested in supporting the channel, there might not be many of you, but I know there's a few. I would be really interested to know how you would prefer to do that. Would you rather make a one-time donation through PayPal? Or would you rather donate through Patreon, which is a monthly subscription? Would you rather pay for some assets, if they're actually useful for you, of course? Or do you have any other suggestions that I haven't considered yet? So that's all that I had to say. If you've been watching the video up to this point, thank you so much. I hope to see you in the next one, and goodbye.